All right, folks. My guest this afternoon is an Oscar and Golden Globe nominee. She literally grew up in showbiz. Her amazing career in showbiz has spanned more than 6 decades in movies and television. During that time, she has appeared in television shows like Magnum P.I., Playhouse 90, Route 66, Rawhide, Police Story, Dallas, The Ropers, The Streets of San Francisco, The Love Boat, we're going to be here for a while. The Love Boat, Emergency. On the big screen, she has appeared in films like Kathy O, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Don Quixote, to name a few. But she is perhaps best known for her performance as Rhonda Penmark in...
Oops.
Rhoda, my goodness. But I do it all the time. But she is probably best remembered for her role as Rhoda Penmark in the 1956 psychological drama The Bad Seed as the adorable, unremorseful, pigtailed psychopath. I'm so thrilled to have her on the show this afternoon, folks. Actress Patty McCormack joins me. Patty, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time today.
My pleasure, Mike. Nice to speak to you, and I love that you called her Rhonda or whatever.
Yeah, I know, Rhoda. I think I was watching an episode of Rhoda last week, and it just infiltrated my brain.
Isn't it funny?
Patty, I mean, your career spans you've had so many. You've been in so many projects. I want to start off in the early part of your career. You initially get your start in showbiz. Your aunt takes you to an audition at the age of 4. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. She took me and my mother, actually. She took us both to a hotel contest in New York with little kids. Basically a baby contest. Yeah, and so for whatever reason, I seem to have won the prize. But when you look at the pictures of the babies, who were like 4 years old, 3 years old, like that, you wouldn't say I was the best looking child in the photos, Right. But I must have had a personality or something. I don't know. So I won the prize, which was a modeling contract. And that's how I got my first, agent.
Wow, you got an agent right after that. Wow.
Well, he was the prize.
Oh, really?
he was a modeling agent. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times when you hear a model agent, you think it's a scam nowadays.
Sounds fishy, doesn't it?
Right.
I know.
Shady.
Very shady. And so anyway, that's how, it began like that.
And how does the audition for the Broadway play of The Bad Seed come up?
Oh, that was just an audition that went out into the business, for all the kids to come in on, just like auditions go out, and so lots of little working actors, were in on it.
Was it a lot of kids?
I think a lot of kids, yeah. Anybody who was young and that age, and looked like what they thought Rhoda looked like, was on it. So, but I read with Nancy Kelly in the theater. That was the audition, and then there was a callback. I'm sure,
Of course.
I don't really remember it, but and then the news came out that it was someone else had gotten it, and but that turned out to be not true. And then I wound up getting it.
Because you were praying near the altar to get the role.
I said that. Did you read that?
I read that. Yeah, I read that.
I didn't want to keep repeating that, but it's true. That is really true. I had a little altar.
You prayed to the Broadway gods?
Yeah, I prayed. No, I had. It looked like it was as though. Well, I was a little Catholic girl, so I had. It was fun to pretend like I had an altar, Yeah,
you're a method actor already.
Yeah. And, so I'm sure I had Mary, and I had, a cross, and I had,
Right.
And I think I was pretending to be the priest, because the nuns didn't do Mass. So I think I was the priest. But I did pray really hard. to get that job.
Well,
That's the truth.
It worked. It really worked.
I've tried it since, and it hasn't. Later on, perhaps I wasn't as pure.
Yeah, right. Every time I try, I get nothing. I get nothing at all. Nothing. Just a blank, just looking at the ceiling. And
I think if you pray for others, it works.
Yeah.
But if you pray for yourself, zip. Nothing happens.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. So you auditioned with Nancy Kelly, and are the other cast members from the film, are they in the play as well?
A lot of them came with us. The woman who played Mrs. Fern, and of course, Mrs. Bagel. The grandfather was different. The dad was different. The dad was on Perry Mason. He was Paul Drake on
William
Perry
Hopper.
Mason.
William Hopper.
Yep.
Right.
And the son of Hedda Hopper.
Oh, he was?
Oh, wow. You imagine?
I didn't know that. Yeah, he's a great
son
character.
Of Hedda Hopper.
Yeah, I watch him every night on Perry Mason. I watch the reruns every night.
I know. Isn't that wild? He's on Perry Mason.
Yeah.
It's so fun to have channels that carry all the old stuff.
I know.
Isn't it?
I watched Peter Gunn right before Perry Mason. I love Peter Gunn. I think they're remaking Peter Gunn. I could be wrong.
Wow.
I believe
okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But those are the great. Those are the great.
They were great.
Acting, the storylines were great. The direction, the writing, everything was great. The acting was phenomenal.
Yeah, really.
In my opinion,
I've been watching. Somebody's friend of mine has a Sunday night thing where he shows like noir movies and stuff, and then right at the same time, Turner Classic Movies had an event. I don't know if you know about.
You had
that happened.
Yes, I want to get into that. That was the Turner Classics Film Festival. I believe it was the 10th year anniversary, and it was April 11th. The only reason why I know it was April 11th because that was my 50th birthday, and I wanted to go.
Oh, is that funny?
I wanted to go. I would have killed to come out there. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
They
showed When Harry Met Sally that night.
Yeah.
On the opening night.
Right. I saw that. And did they show The Bad Seed as well?
They showed it on 2 nights later.
Oh, wow.
They showed it poolside at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great?
Oh, that's something.
And I had the pleasure of being interviewed by Eddie Muller.
Eddie Muller, I had him on the show. Great guy.
Okay, nice guy.
Great guy. Great, very, very. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff.
Boy, he knows as much as my friend. The friend that I went with is you'll know this man is Dan Lauria. And he played the dad on the Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years, yes.
Yep,
Dan
exactly.
Yeah, I might get him on as a guest. He'd be a good guest.
He's okay, so he can actually compete. I'm sure if they had a contest with Eddie Muller.
Really.
On his knowledge of noir. Yeah, it's crazy.
So I definitely got to get him on. Yeah, I have to get him on. Yeah. Film Noir every Sunday on Turner Classics. 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Every
night. That's it.
I think Night Alley's on this Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's funny.
They're remaking that one too. I think Del Toro's doing that one. So you do the play on Broadway. You did it for a year on Broadway?
Yeah, just about a year because we did 5 months in 2 theaters. We did 5 months at one theater, and then I think they thought that it would run that long and that would be it. But then it seemed to have an audience, so we went to a second theater and did another 5 months.
Were you also working on I Remember Mama at the same time?
I was.
Wow, my goodness.
I did the live TV show. It was like a Friday night event, that people used to watch. It was live. It went right out when we did it,
Wow.
And I was the series was on longer than I was on it. I was on it for about 2.5 years.
Dick Van Patten. Was Dick Van Patten in that?
Yeah.
Dick
Van Patten.
And Peggy Wood.
And somebody named Kevin Coughlin, who isn't with us anymore, but he was a kid actor, and we worked together actually in our 20s when we were like just 20-something. We did a couple of like independent American International movies, that were around back then. Anyway, and who else? Peggy Wood was Mama.
Right?
Judson Lair was Papa. And
this was like you say, this was live television.
Yeah, and families did sit around and
in the parlor
watch
room.
The show.
In the parlor room.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I used to go from, because the curtain used to go up at 8:40 usually back then in New York, and the show was on from I think 8 to 8:30 or something like that. So they try to put me in the first half of the TV show for convenience sometimes, but didn't always work out. And then I would change into Rhoda clothes in the cab on our way over to the theater. So, yeah, it was busy times.
How old were you? Were you 8 years old at the time?
I had to be somewhere between, I think I booked The Bad Seed when I was like 8.5. So I probably, and I was on I Remember Mama, so I was on it from, say, 8.5 to 10. But I know after I finished the filming of the movie, so this is a little confused in my head, I had to go back. I had to go back to New York to finish up the I Remember Mama commitment. And then after that, my mother and stepfather and I moved out here.
So you're doing how was the food at Sardi's?
Oh, fantastic. My mouth waters when because Nancy Kelly would order in on matinee days from Sardi's.
I love that.
I learned about that from her, Yeah.
I mean, how are you handling all this? I don't want to say pressure, but memorizing your lines at like maybe 8, 9 years old. At such a young age, you're doing. I Remember Mama. You're doing The Bad Seed on Broadway. I mean, how do you remember all this stuff?
I don't know. I didn't have trouble, when I was a kid. Because I think there's less in your brain.
Right.
You have less fear.
And where does school come into play when you're that age? When you're doing all this?
Yeah, well, it was a little sketchy because I did go to I went to professional children's school for one part of my, I guess it was kindergarten, a little piece of kindergarten. And then I left there and went to a smaller kinder school because PCS was a hard school.
That's a tough school.
And it was a tough
school,
seriously. And so I went to something called Willard Mace, and there were a lot of kids who went there. And I shouldn't say this. It was a great place to go because they were very nice to the kids who worked, made life easy. And I had good grades.
Yeah, right.
And then go ahead.
When you're running around 8, 9 years old, Patty, doing all this memorize, you thought this was normal for an 8 or 9 year old kid.
I did it. I mean, that was my. You look at life from where you were at. When you're a kid. And you think this is what life is. You don't question.
Yeah.
Things usually. I mean, I didn't anyway. I didn't question. Once in a while, I would long for. I can remember this. I would long for looking forward to something that I was going to get to do. Either it was in the summer or something like that. Knowing, though, being sort of like, oh no, that I had a job that was coming in between the time I thought of it and the event that I was looking forward to. So there was a little bit of that sense that it was work,
All right. Did any kids? Did kids treat you different?
Well, it was good that I went to professional children's school back there because, and then when I came out here, I went into a school called St. Victor's, and they had a lot of movie star kids in it. So they were not impressed with anything. And so that was great, actually,
Right.
Loretta Young used to show up to pick up her son.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Right. So it's normal. It's normal.
So I was, nothing. Yeah.
You were nothing, so, Patty, you're doing the play on Broadway, The Bad Seed, and director Mervyn LeRoy comes in to see the play. Yeah. That, I know. I mean, that,
I don't remember. I remember my relationship with him shooting the film, but I don't remember, other than the talking about it, that we were being looked at,
right,
for the movie. And so that event on during that time on Broadway was probably, the excitement was probably felt by the adults, not.
Right.
And I was just,
did
doing
you
my
have
thing,
to audition for the film?
No.
Wow.
No, he took most of us. But as I said, Paul Fix became the grandpa. Trying to think, and the dad was different. Was William Hopper.
Was Jesse White there too, or did he come in later?
No, he wasn't in the play. He was He was in the film.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So there were quite a few the actors who played at the dinner party. In I don't know if you remember, but when they were having dinner talking about murder and all that.
Yes.
A lot of those people didn't go with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Different actors. They were New York theater guys, and they probably had other jobs to go to, Yeah,
a couple of days of work, they go and do that.
Seriously. Yeah.
Patty, as an actor, timing is everything. You did the play on Broadway. You don't audition. You do the film. That cast, it was like a family to you. It was like your second family.
Right. Right.
Talk about that if you can.
Oh, sure.
It was like magic.
Well,
It was like magic,
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about theater too. If you get to have a nice run in a play, most of the time, things that occur by the end of the run are things you learned and experienced through all the great audiences that were there, and taught you what was happening with what you were doing. Because the reactions, you usually learned a lot from that, from the audiences. So by the time we were at the end of our run on Broadway, we shared, the fear of opening nights and birthdays and, the flus that people passed around and, all those great things. And we were a close-knit bunch. We really were. And Nancy Kelly was very loving to me. Very, very honestly, she was very sweet to me. And also the wonderful, I have to think of his name now. It's not popping into my head.
Henry Jones?
Yes! Henry Jones was the classiest guy, so unlike his character.
For those people, out there who haven't seen the Bad Seed, 1956, the Bad Seed, Henry Jones played the I don't even know what you call him nowadays. He was a custodian type, a handyman type of guy.
Yeah. And people have suggested a possible pedophile.
Yeah.
I didn't even get that.
Right,
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
We spoke about school earlier, Patty. Was he a stickler with you about schooling? He
was. Henry Jones.
Yes. Great character actor.
When I said it was sketchy, my high school, he was right on top of it, and he wanted to make sure that I, was going to school, and especially because there were matinee days, and he was looking out for my education, which is very sweet. Yeah, and it wasn't a bad thing, it was a good thing. So.
Folks, joining me on the phone is legendary actress Miss Patty McCormack, famous for playing Rhoda. Did I say it right? Rhoda in the 1956 classic, The Bad Seed. Folks who out there who haven't seen it, go see it sometime. Get it online. All these apps nowadays, you can see anything. It's a fantastic film. I just actually I rewatched it a couple weeks ago because I knew you were coming on, and it's fascinating.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you, now that I saw it a couple weeks ago, when you were playing with the matches, maybe the middle of the film, towards the end.
I know what you mean.
When you walked out the door, when you got yelled at by Nancy Kelly, the mother,
right?
You flashed.
How did that happen?
Yes.
I had so much fun doing that.
Oh my goodness!
I really did, because I picked them up with one hand,
Mm.
and as I was going to the door, I switched it to my other hand.
Oh, wow.
And she stops me, and she said, "What do you have?" And I say, "Nothing," right?
Right.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. And then as I closed the door with the hand that I put my matches in, you could see them.
Wow, yeah, because it's very prominent where you put them in there. It's like you got 3 fingers.
I did like three spread.
Right,
yeah.
right. I was like, what?
That was a fun trick to learn.
I said,
enjoyed that very much.
I have to ask her how she did that. Because I don't know, you would have been a good pickpocketer.
I could have. I should have. Yeah.
Do you remember how many takes you did?
Oh, I had that down because
Wow.
I did it on. That was done on stage. Yep. So a lot of those things were polished.
Yeah, right. They were. Yeah, you just brought
really.
it with you. Amazing.
The thing that was different for the film, if you don't mind my
go ahead.
I
please.
do talk a lot. I know.
No, I love it.
Okay, the scene with the tea set in the film where I'm having tea, pretending to have tea
with Henry Jones.
He's got and he's got the Excelsior from that tea set that came.
Right.
That was written for the film.
Okay,
that whole set, that whole sequence of what we did was written only for the film. It wasn't in the play.
It wasn't in the play. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Because
there
was also another. You did another scene like that with the puzzle. Was it a puzzle?
It was a puzzle. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was in the play.
That was
in the play.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think I had a book in the play, which maybe one of those things they substituted the tea thing for. I don't know. But I do remember reading a book during the play and actually working through books, because because you asked if I was comfortable with dialogue and everything.
Right.
I could actually read a book,
Wow.
Yeah, imagine.
Imagine that. Amazing. You could do anything.
Then yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's funny.
Talk about working with the director Melvin LeRoy.
Oh yeah.
How was he to work with?
Well, he was wonderful. And I always say that he was, really good with me, and the fact that he liked so much what we had done, he let us know that. And he would encourage us to run it the way we did it, and then he would tweak things if he wanted to.
Right, because he wanted you guys to do pretty much what you guys were doing on the Broadway play to bring it into the film.
Because he liked it. Yeah, he liked what he saw. So it's good, though, in a way that we're all kind of big. We're all a little bit theatrical, But the fact that we're all that way, it's just a style, of it. And he kind of kept that,
He was amazing. I mean, he would have the the hologram T-shirts or whatever the heck it was.
He had monograms.
Monogram, that's it.
He did. I'd never seen a monogrammed thing like that before. And he had his initials in his shirt.
The only time I ever saw that was on Laverne and Shirley.
So cool.
That's right. It's the only time I've ever seen that.
Yes.
He was a very...
But if people, that's a very special thing for men to do, I guess.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And you never lose your shirt that way. That's what it is.
That's mine. It's got my initials on it, literally. he actually steered 13 different actors to Oscar nominations. Amazing.
Did he really?
Yes. Wow,
See?
that's amazing.
So he's he was very he was like a good, gosh, what could I even call him? Just a good dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he would smoke he would smoke on a cigar. How did that make you feel?
No, I didn't mind it at all.
You didn't mind it?
Yeah, nothing.
Wow.
It was before we knew anything, right?
Right. His son, I believe his son was a big restaurateur. Warner LeRoy.
Wasn't it called Maxwell's Plum?
Maxwell's Plum, Tavern on the Green.
He had Tavern on the Green too.
I believe he recreated the Russian tea room after it closed as well.
Wow!
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
So you get nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress at, I believe, maybe 10, 11 years old. I mean, what is that like?
Yeah.
What is that like, really?
Yeah. Well, remembering that it's, just like one step in front of the other. You know what I mean? So it was, I knew that it was a very exciting thing to have happen, more from the adults around me,
correct,
than because I didn't have any connection yet. I didn't know what it was going to be like. And then on the rehearsal, they did it at the Pantages Theater back then.
Yes.
And one of on the rehearsal day, I guess the day before, it hit me because I saw, as I was going in, Elizabeth Taylor was coming out. And that was, I loved Elizabeth Taylor. So she was like, my movie star.
Yeah, again, we talk about, old versus the new today. They were movie stars. They were elegant. They were stars of the silver screen. They had class, charisma, Cary Grant, everybody, anybody.
And she...
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bigger than life.
Right.
Bigger than life. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So that made me understand. And then I had, I did that little thing with Jerry Lewis that I had to rehearse.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was nervous about that because I was going up to do a little routine, before anyway. So I had some nerves around it. I definitely had some nerves around it. But my mother, when we were sitting there, my mother made sure to tell me that I wasn't going to win. So when they called my name, I wouldn't have to get up.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay. She said, because they're going to give it to a grown-up. They're not going to give it to a little girl.
Mm.
Isn't that great? So it actually is.
Thanks, Ma.
Gee, thanks, Ma. So it actually was a good thing because...
it diffused you a little bit.
It did. And if I was thinking, maybe I'm going to have to get up because I won this prize, she didn't want the disappointment.
Mm. Wow.
I think that's what it was. So she let me know that I wasn't even in the mix because I think at that time they didn't do that. I don't know if I'm right about that. I think there were special ones, but not... I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you remember that little bit you did with Jerry?
It said, say that once again.
Do you remember that little bit that you did with Jerry Lewis?
Oh, yeah. I saw it. What reminded me totally of it was I got to see it on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Because you can see everything on YouTube.
Exactly.
You can see everything. You know everything from Google. If you have a question about anything.
You don't even need a brain anymore.
No, you don't.
Useless.
Thank God.
If I had Google,
thank God for me.
If I had Google in high school, I would have got A's at Harvard. 6 years. Of high school. I'm on the radio. 6 years of high school. That's what you get.
That's a good job. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
that's a good job.
Oh my goodness! You gotta get a day job. Anyways, so I just want to say, if I can, the little bit you did with Jerry Lewis was, my goodness, I forget now.
I scared him. I know.
Right.
I put my hand out as I was walking towards him, and I was sort of playing me being a little bit formal. It wasn't how I was as a kid, So I was being the formal self, a little bit of Rhoda,
Look out.
And yeah, on my best behavior. So I put my hand out because that was the bit we had, And then he said, "Don't point that thing at me," or something like that, or as though I had a gun in my hand. Yeah. So he pretended to be very afraid of me, which was funny.
Yeah, I think he said the child star of the bad seed who killed the critics and most of the cast.
I didn't hear that. I don't remember that.
Something to that effect. Something to that effect.
He was funny, though. He was funny.
I want to try to go. I want to go outside of the bad seed for a second. Talk about the time.
Okay.
Talk about the time that you met John F. Kennedy.
Oh yes. I was publicizing, I think, a show that I did called Peck's Bad Girl, and so it was they had us on a travel around the country and doing things, and oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the state we were in. We opened his campaign he was cutting a ribbon to open his campaign, and I have a picture of it, and I don't have it right in front of me. And he said, our pictures were being taken together.
Wow.
Which is so amazing. I know. It's ridiculous. It's that, and he said, "Are you a Democrat or a Republican?" And I, being, totally an idiot, I had no.
Yeah, you don't know. What are you, like 10, 12?
No idea. So I don't know what I said, but I think I probably said I don't know.
He said, "Good, you're an independent. I can swing you my way."
He probably would have said that. But it was one of the bigger things that's ever happened to me.
Wow.
Was to have had that happen, just by the luck of the draw, just to be there and to have shook his hand.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, what a gift that was. And of course I became a, huge fan of his. And when he, and
do you remember where you were when he got assassinated?
Oh, totally. I totally remember.
Where were you?
That's like you know where I was? Yeah. I was in a place called
You weren't in the book. You weren't in the book suppository, were you?
I was at a place. It was a beauty school on 43rd Street, off Broadway, and it was a big beauty school called Marinello's.
Wow.
And it was on.
I think Marilyn Monroe used to go there. I could be wrong.
Seriously?
Yes.
It might be. It might be true.
I could be wrong.
But on a TV up high, it was up high above all the, there was shampoo things and all that around, and that's when I heard.
Wow.
And and we didn't know right away because they didn't say right away,
Right. Nobody knew what was going on. Amazing.
Yeah, but I saw it. It was live. I saw it happen live.
Jeez.
And also Robert Kennedy, I saw live.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just in was my in-laws' apartment in the Valley in Encino, it was in Encino, and we were watching him speak at the Ambassador Hotel.
Correct. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and we were all gathered, excited to see him accepting and to whatever he said. I can't remember.
In 1960, you appeared as Joanne Wilkes in the 1960 film The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which starred Tony Randall. How was it working with Tony Randall?
Oh, he was a character. He was a funny man. Obviously, he was a funny man. I was maybe was about 12 or 13, something like that. He was not really communicative with me, but he was very friendly with Sherry Jackson, who played. She was slightly older, and definitely a young woman, by then. So he was a flirt, So I was a child in his, I looked like a kid, And so I didn't have a whole lot to do with him, but I was great friends with Eddie Hodges.
Okay. Yes, I know Eddie Hodges.
Yeah, and yeah, isn't that funny?
I mean,
but Tony Randall was, Tony Randall. He was you have to know he was a character. He was
one of the greats. Funny man. One of the greats, in my opinion.
Totally. Yeah.
Pat, if we could circle back to the bad seed for a second, at the actually end of the movie was pretty. I like the way Mervyn LeRoy finished the ending of the movie. I think you know what I'm talking about when he introduced all the characters. That was sort of Broadway-esque.
And the reason it was done on Broadway was because the ending of the play was different than the film. And in the play, you know that, right?
Yes, correct.
So, should I mean, it's so old, I can say both, right?
Yeah,
I can say
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
They're not going to go. If they could just look it up.
Yeah, right.
But the play ended with where Rhoda lived and her mom died. The mother died.
Yes.
And then the dad and everyone left on stage had no idea what had happened. So the ending of the play was very unsatisfying to the audience.
Yeah, they didn't like it.
No, they did not like it. They were disturbed by it.
Right.
So they made a little thing to take the pressure off that Nancy Kelly would call me out and throw me over her knee and spank me.
Yeah.
During the
Wow.
And Mervyn LeRoy thought that was very funny and thought it was apropos anyway because it would satisfy the movie-going audience who would have been annoyed, at my behavior anyway. So, he kept it. He kept it.
I might mispronounce her name, but Eileen Hackett. Obviously, she had
Eileen Hackett.
Yeah, she had a very heavy part. I mean, did you get? Could anybody get near her while she was, getting into the?
I know what you're saying. She and I weren't connected much in the day-to-day interactions, But you're right. She had the heaviest role. She was so wonderful.
You worked with her later on down the road.
I did.
Wow.
I did work with her.
Amazing.
Isn't that great?
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was with Lonnie Anderson. Let me think.
Wow.
Lonnie Anderson, and I'm pretty sure it was a show starring Lonnie Anderson and who was Wonder Woman, the original?
Oh, Linda Carter.
Yeah, Linda Carter.
Can't forget that.
I think and and so anyway, but I think it helped our relationship on stage, the fact that we weren't warm and fuzzy with each other. There wasn't anything hostile about it,
right.
But it was just not.
Yeah, it was just a heavy load, heavy emotional load for that character.
And I think she was in her place of preparing.
Right.
She had the heaviest thing to do in the play.
Yeah, difficult part. Nancy Kelly, ironically enough, after The Bad Seed, her rest of her career was in television. No more films.
Interesting.
Maybe she had a bad experience with in films in general. I don't know.
I don't know. She started out very early in films, very young, like 17. A young woman, and I have no idea. I know that she was very particular about what she chose to do. That I learned about her later, and so sometimes she would think she was going to do a project, and then in the end she'd think, "Nah, I don't want to do it."
Yeah, probably. She's probably get the pick and choose.
So I think she did.
Yeah.
She had that theater, kind of really a theater background, and I think she did more theater than anything. She probably did a lot of television later, but I think theater was her first love. I'm pretty sure.
Patty, in 1979, 1980, you played 28 episodes of Anne Brooks in a short-lived show called The Ropers, which is like a spin-off of Three's Company. How was it working with Norman Fell and Audrey Lindley?
Oh, it was the best.
Norman Fell seemed like a great guy. I don't know why.
And Jeff Tambor, Jeffrey
Tambor. Yes, Jeffrey Tambor, yes.
Yes. Yep. We had laughs it was so much fun. I have to tell you, it was so much fun. We had a whole week, to rehearse. Oh. And then you did it live in front of an audience. I think they taped both the dress and the show, if I remember right. But I I'm telling you, we had the best time. The silliest times, you know. The rope was spun off from John Ritter's Three's Company.
Yes.
And we were like next door to each other because we were.
I remember that show very well. Very well.
And sometimes we had a couple of crossover shows.
Because John Ritter was in it, and Joyce DeWitt was in it as well. Yeah, funny.
What a sweetheart! Oh my God, and funny.
Too bad.
Funny and a good guy.
It's too bad. Patty, this has been great. I got one more question for you before we wrap this up. My goodness, time flies.
Okay.
But, you probably get this one all the time, but, why do so many child actors back then, even now, they go down the wrong road, the wrong path. I mean, that didn't happen for you, whether it, obviously whether it was, drugs or whatever. Why do you think that didn't happen? Thank God for you.
Boy, just, the grace of God, seriously.
Just always working,
you know what I mean?
always working. You're always working.
He was there. He may not have been. That's right. It's the altar. I'm telling you. No, I think a lot of it had to do with my parents, my big sister, who was my role model, and the fact that I was food oriented. Actually, I think I was very food oriented.
Yeah.
So when I was depressed or upset or whatever, or going through stress or whatever people go through, or feeling sorry for myself,
right, you would eat.
I would eat.
You would eat.
And I'd feel a lot better.
Right, you're better off. You're better off. You're better off. Way better off.
But it wasn't a plus, because you weren't supposed to gain weight, so. That that was a little bit of a hardship, but
right.
So I gained some weight at different points of my.
Where was your star on the Walk of Fame located?
It is
because I'll be coming out there in a couple months. I want to go see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to give me a call.
I will. I will definitely call you.
Okay.
I will definitely call you. We'll have some laughs.
Good.
We'll have some laughs. I love to talk shop about the old days.
Okay, and all right, the Star is located, let me get this right, west of Vine, and on the, let me think, it's north to go that way, and the south side of Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay.
So the southwest corner of Vine and Hollywood. It's in a good spot.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's a good spot.
Just so my audience knows that, she got her star in 1960 at the age of 15, folks. Hello.
That's
amazing.
Nice.
It's amazing.
That's when they put them in, when they created the street.
Wow.
They did the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. Nowadays they give everybody, if they're an extra in a movie, they get one nowadays.
I think they have to buy it now.
Yeah, they buy it. Yeah, they purchase it. Yeah, I can get one too.
So if I had to buy it never would have happened.
Yeah, you never would have got it right. This has been great, Patty, and I thank you so much for doing this.
Too.
And I had a lot of fun, and that's a lot of what I do on this show is talk to the older actors that no pun intended, obviously, but the older generation of actors, the good old days of film when they, studio system days, and they churned out some great films, and obviously, The Bad Seed was one of those great films, and thank you so much for doing this, Patty, and I will call you in a couple months, so expect my call in a couple months.
I will.
We'll have some laughs.
All right. Good.
All right, Patty. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. All right, guys, thank you for listening. If you like this interview, please be sure to click that subscribe button for me and click the like button as well. Some great interviews on here. Be sure to scroll through and enjoy the Hollywood murder mystery, celebrity interviews, and mini reels as well.